Hello, Mr. Toller.
Hello, sir.
How you doing?
Mr. Gaffney.
Why you got you're like the head guy on my screen.
I know. I'm the boss.
What did you do differently?
I joined first.
Were you on there before me? I guess I got to
Mm-hmm.
take the screen back.
I was on in like 51.
Let's see here. I wonder why it's doing that. Let's see here. It's got me.
Brendan should be here shortly.
Well, I know. Probably.
We just ended Latin class like a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm wondering if it's why it's doing that. Let's see here. Let me see. Stop video, rename in video. What else we got here? That's strange. Mr. James, it says your network bandwidth is low.
Oh, I don't know how to fix that.
See if that does it. That doesn't do it. Let's see what that does. Let's see. Otherwise, let's see what this does. That's weird. Let's stop it. James, what do you see in what's your screen mostly filled with?
I see your desktop.
You see my desktop?
Yep.
Scroll.
You don't see stop video, manage participants. Something else is out there. Mr. McCaffrey's here. Give me 1 second as I try to unravel it. That's better. Now, Mr. Toller, what do you see on, what's the major part of your screen?
It's your face.
Like, if, can you see like the whole, is most of your screen the whole whiteboard?
Yes.
Perfect. Not sure what I did, but that's what I want. All right, so let's see. We got Toller, James, McCaffrey. Looks like somebody else is checking in. Mr. Hall, Mr. Tomlin. All right, it's filling up. Hall, Tomlin. Everybody hear me all right?
Yeah.
All right, let me see. I got an intruder. Let me check the intruder.
It's done on.
Mr. Mick, if you hear me, we've got Algebra 1 tomorrow. I've got a class right now. Okay. I know you tried to get on earlier, but Algebra 1 is tomorrow. Let's see. ABC. It should be at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I've got the schedule semi-memorized. All right, let me see if I'm missing anybody else. Anybody heard of Mr. Walden or seen him? I haven't gotten anything from him. Did he like drop off the planet? No one's seen or heard of him? Let's see. We'll wait. Anybody have any questions while I wait? I'm just seeing if maybe Mr. Gore shows up or Mr. Daughtry. He tried to get on earlier, so I know he's out. I know he's out there, out and about. All right. Well, it's a couple minutes after 10. We'll go ahead and get started. Let me go over a few announcements to try to get see if we can get up a little bit up to speed. Again, what you guys see is, can you like see the whole whiteboard and everything? Am I the big part of your screen? Because like right now, what I see is Mr. McCaffrey. He's the big part of my screen. It looks like he lost his razor.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, I mean, the elusive Mr. Daughtry just showed up. There we go. Smiling Mr. Daughtry. Let's see if I can get.
Hello.
There he is.
Yellow.
Okay, let me go over some announcements. As of about an hour ago, we had a telcon. The Blackbot is still down. So
Yep.
I can't send you any like worksheets, and you can't send me any finished sheets. So what we're told is it'll be back up soon. I don't know if soon means today or when. I hope it means today. We'll see what happens there. So Black, just kind of check periodically. Let me go over a couple of things from last week to try to get you up to speed. I'm going to change the screen there a little bit. Those of you that took the Flexi quiz, I went back in and regraded them. I graded them manually because say the answer was 0.9482 and you typed in 0.9482. It marked it wrong. So I went in and rescored that. So, and then on the
Sir, did I take it?
whatever your last problem was, is where I put the score. So no, I didn't get one from Mr. Daughtry, Mr. Hall, Mr. Tomlin, or Mr. Walden. So you're gonna have to go.
Sir, where are they at?
Just type in Flexi Quiz and go in there, and go in there and count and take the quiz. It's timed. I think you only have 20 or 25 minutes. I've kind of forgotten because that was in there since last Wednesday.
Is it hard?
Not as long as you know how to calculate the probability or the area under the curve. If you know how to do that, you're in good shape.
What if you don't know how to do that?
All right. Let's see. So make sure you take the Flexi quiz, Mr. Tomlin, the elusive Mr. Walden, Mr. Hall, and Mr. Daughtry. So Blackbaud comes back up.
Stevie said
I've got-
Zoom's not working.
I'm sorry?
Stevie said Zoom's not working for him.
Not working for him? Okay. If you happen to miss class for whatever reason, we're recording these and then we'll load them up on YouTube and then we'll send you a link.
Or and handies won't work
Actually,
either.
no, we don't need to do that. You just go to the YouTube, my YouTube channel, which everybody should have gotten a link for, and just you can watch it then. I'll try to label like stats Monday, March 30th, all right, so you know what's what. Again?
We have Stevie now.
Look, I'm trying to join it. They keep saying
Did you copy the paste the link right?
yeah.
Yo, yum head. Go to the email. It's gonna say Zoom.
Dustin send us an email. It has all the links on it.
You just click on the link because each teacher has a Zoom, like a Zoom account or a Zoom.
Mark, sit.
I'm gonna mute you all. All right, if I got to compete with a bunch of you. All right.
See you later.
If you miss class, like Mr. Walden, you can go to the YouTube channel and I'll label it Monday Stats Monday. Yes. All right. You can watch that. Watch it then. Let me just check because somebody keeps chiming in on the trying to get into the class. Okay. Let's go submit. All right. So just check to make sure once Blackbaud comes up, you've taken the Flexi quiz you can take now because that's not part of Blackbaud. And then you should.
Where did you say I can find the Flexi quiz at again, sir?
Just type in Flexi quiz in your Google search
Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can just.
and open an account.
I just clicked on that thing.
And actually,
Send that jump.
no. If you go back to Wednesday's announcement.
Yeah. Click on.
Daughtry, go back to Wednesday's announcements, and there's a link there for the Flexi quiz, and just click on it, open it up, and then start your account there if you haven't used Flexi quiz for your other for any of your other classes. So go back to Wednesday because the link for it was posted in the announcements last Wednesday.
Hold on.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
All right.
No. What day was that?
That's Wednesday. That's
March
Wednesday.
what?
It would have been 25, March 25th.
Oh yeah, I got it.
And then also when Blackbaud comes back up, if you haven't sent it in, and I haven't posted any of the grades in Blackbaud because it hasn't been up for us either, just to make sure you've submitted 6-2. We had 3 problem sets last week, numbers 2, 3, and 4. If you give me 2 of the 3, I'll be happy. Give me at least 2 of the 3.
Sir.
Yeah.
So I'm working. I've been working. So like sir, like, can you be a little lenient?
Well, I think I have been because all the stuff was due last week.
I mean, question, like, are teachers still getting like their same salaries, being that they're not in school no more?
You'll have to ask. I'm at school. See?
I mean, like with us.
Yes. I'm at school. I can't answer that question.
If that's a no, I feel like y'all shouldn't really like give assignments like as if like y'all was still like in school and everything. You know what I'm saying? Like if they cut y'all like pay a little bit, just a little, just saying like you know.
You sound terrible.
I can't speak for the people that aren't here. I am
Shut up,
here.
McCaffrey.
Yeah, shut up, Slanky.
I'm here trying to keep this thing going.
Sure, but if you're not getting your funds, why keep it going?
Brian, he is getting paid still.
Not as much as he would on the regular though.
Mr. Daughtry, because I'm doing it for you. I don't want you to fall through the cracks.
I'm a senior.
I'm senior to your senior.
Badly.
Senior citizen.
But sir, like
So make sure you
Sure.
take the flexi quiz if you haven't. Make sure, hey, Mr. Walden's here. I thought he dropped off the face of the earth, but he is alive and kicking.
Yeah, we had to get him straight.
Make sure you submitted on Blackboard once it's back up, if you haven't done so already. Section 6.2, problems
Max.
numbers
There's
2,
much
3, and
quiz.
4. I
The
want at
quiz.
least, I want at least 2 of those.
the quiz.
Okay, I want at least 2 of those.
2 of what? The quizzes?
The problem set you don't.
Problem sets, 6.2. You should have number 2, number 3, and number 4 somewhere.
Oh my lord! I don't
Maybe
think I
print it
get
out.
any of those.
Yeah, you do.
Okay. So with that, and then take the flexi quiz. That's critically important. It's only 9 problems. Actually, it's 8 and a bonus, I believe. And
It don't really be hard.
those of you that took it, and you're concerned that you only got like 3 out of 9 or 4 out of 9 or 5 out of 9, go back. I manually graded them because of flexi quiz being not very flexible on the scoring. If, like I said, if I put in the answer is 0.2982 and you put in 0.298, so I went back in and manually scored those. So I haven't put them in Blackboard, of course, but I will as soon as it's back up and running. If you want to know what you got, I can tell you.
Nah, I don't.
Anybody want to know?
Yeah.
Who's yeah?
Caffrey.
Caffrey. Got a 90. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Caffrey's happy.
Yeah.
Bucky's hungry.
He's a senior. He hasn't thrown in the towel yet.
Bruh.
Okay.
Bucky, you hungry, brother? Come on now.
You are.
All right.
That
So, let's do here. Let me just change my screen here for a second. See if I can get this.
You're.
Okay. Do I need to go back on 6.2 and do any problems, or do I?
Yeah, can you show me how to like? Can you prepare me for the questions on the quiz?
Yeah, let's look at. You've got problem set 3 and 4 handy, all right? Gosh, I wish I could fix this thing. So it shows me, am I your whole, predominantly on your full screen? Because right now I got like a checkerboard of, am I your main screen? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I can do this to make it.
I should say the public school for staff.
What? Mr. Walden, what are you complaining about?
No complaint, sir.
All right. Okay.
Ready to learn.
Now, if you're having problems, particularly Mr. Daughtry, remember this?
Huh?
In front of you. This is right out of your text. All right. We made these a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Friday. That's kind of your guide to how to read areas and probabilities under the curve, along with this table. Now, if you don't have this table, it's an appendix B. It's called table 3 in the back of your text. All right. If you don't have that, just Google standard normal probabilities. All right. Just Google that, And there's a multitude of them online that you can print out. That's this one I gave you, all right? So, real briefly, let's look at, if you got problem set 3 in front of you.
Don't have problem set 3.
No?
No, I only got one. Last week.
You got problem set 1? Because you should have had problem set 1. We did that Friday before school abruptly ended. And then last week we did 2. They're all from last week. Do you have, Mr. Hall, have you problem set 3 or 4? You can operate off of that one.
Aren't those on Blackboard?
Yes.
No, I don't have those printed out.
All right. Well, I'm just going to use one of those. Let's.
Yeah. So I'll just stick with you guys.
All right. Well, let's. For those of you that have it, it doesn't really matter. I'm going to put them on the board. I'm going to put a couple on the board to refresh your memory. All right. So. This table is set up for, if you're under the standard normal curve, it's filling from left to right as you scan across that table. That's why a z-score of -3 is real close to 0, and a z-score of +3 is real close to 1. So it's filling from left to right. So if it asks for a probability or area to the left of that z-score or less than the z-score, you just read it right off the table. So if you're looking at this, let's see. Let's see. Like number 3 on problem set 3. All right. I'll draw it real big. All right. It says to the left of 0.74. Well, the z-score at the mean is always 0. Can you all see that? Maybe I probably can't. You see that? Yeah. Mr. Bobby, you falling down your chair? It says to the left of 0.74, a z-score of 0.74. So you're 3/4 of a standard deviation above the mean. It's a positive, so we know we're over on the right side. So if it says to the left of or to the left or less than, it's asking you for all this area here, right? So you just read it right off the table. So if you go to your table and look down the left side to 0.7, and then come across the top to 4 100ths, you'll come up with a score of 0.7704. Right? So that's saying 70.77 or 77% of your data or probability or likelihood or area is this shaded area right there. You read it right off the table. Make sense? Now, if it said to the right of or greater than, and ask you for this area, okay? The table doesn't give you this. It does give you this, and if you think of complementary events, remember the probability of success and failure? Now it's just going to be 1 minus the 0.7704, all right? Which you can calculate. I don't have my calculator right here in front of me, but it's going to be somewhere around 0.23, what? 2396, maybe? So this would be 0.2396. As long as you know that, you're in good shape. Now, if it asks, you had a couple of these on the quiz, Mr. Daughtry, or you will have them on the quiz before I turn it off.
Yeah.
We look at the back of problem set 3. All right, let's look at, let's see, I'm trying to find a good one here. All right, let's look at, if you look at number 9, if you've got the sheet there, C is greater than 0, so we're going to the right. Can you see that? I probably need to use black. Let's use black so it'll show up better. It says greater than 0 and less than 2.35. So here's 2.35. I'm just kind of roughly drawing it in. It's not to scale. So it's asking you for this area here, right? So you know that the mean cuts this thing right in half, and then half my data is on this side. So I don't even need to calculate this, right? But I do need the area for 2.35. So if you go to the table, make sure you go to the positive side, because we know it's over on the right side. And you look up 2.35 on your, come down to 2.3 and go over to 5. You find 0.9906. That's for all this area back to the left. So all you got to do is subtract the 0.5 out of the 0.9906 from 0.4906. So as long as you know the less than, the greater than, and then in between two z-scores, that's the three major calculations.
Bro.
All right? Questions? All right. Did anybody do problem set 4? Where I gave you the area and you had to figure out the z-score. Want to go over that real briefly? We're just going to go backwards. We're going to go backwards. What I'm putting on the board, can you see on your screen all right? Yeah. All right. Let's see here. Let's look at, does anybody have one in front of them they want to work, or I'll just pick a couple out? Anybody have?
Pick a couple.
Did it online.
Someone's looking.
You do number 4?
Number 4. Let's do an easy one first and we'll build up. All right, let's look at number 1. All right, I give you the curve and I give you the area right here was 0.1515. All right. So you got to do kind of the NCSI, NCIS, whatever it is thing, and you're gonna now work. You've got to find the area inside that table somewhere. So you know being a small number and being less than 0.5, it's going to be on the negative side of this table, right? The negative side of this table. So you kind of have to go through and start looking. All right, and I'm looking down. Let's see. All right, and if you look, it's about right where my finger is. All right, there's a 0.1515 right there. So it has a negative z-score of negative 1 point, and then coming down to tenths. Let's see, 1.03. So I give you the area, you tell me the corresponding z-score. So you're looking from the inside of the table out. Make sense? Mr.
Yes,
James is
sir.
happy. Mr. James is happy.
Dr. James.
Okay. All right. So Mr. Tillman said, let's do number 4. Questions before I move on?
A window.
Number 4. I give you the curve.
A window.
Give you. It's the area between 0 and
Window.
z-score, and it's this area right in here, right? And I told you this area right here, 0.0915, right?
Window.
Okay, so just use a little deduction here. We know with the mean right here in the middle with a z-score of 0, that's 0 standard deviations, that's right in the mean. We know everything this way is what? What is that? How much area is to the left?
Negative.
Negative on the negative.
Yeah.
How much area is to the left of that mean?
No idea, sir.
Yes, you do.
1.
The mean splits it right in half.
1.
0.5.
1/2.
Or half of it, right? Half
Yeah.
is to the left of the mean. The whole area of the curve totals 1. If I shade that whole thing in, that equals 1 or 100%, right?
Yeah.
So you got to have that basic knowledge down, all right?
Window.
So we know that's 0.5. I got this little area in here. to find the z-score just to the left of the mean. So all you do is you take the 0.5000 and subtract out this area here, and that'll give me this area here, which I can then go back in and find the corresponding z-score. So I subtract 0.5 from 0.0915. Let's see here, did I do that? Yeah, it equals to 0.4085. 0.4085. So that's the area I've got start here. So now we're going to go back to the table, and we're going to look for 0.4085. Right? If you look for 0.4085, you will find that that has a negative z-score, or a z-score of negative 0.23, right? Negative 0.23. We know it's going to be a negative score because it's over on the left side of the mean, right? I'm glad to be here for your entertaining pleasure, Mr. James and Mr. Daughtry.
You done, sir?
All right.
Sure, I'm just sitting here listening.
Mr. Tomlin, any more on that page I can go over for you?
You do 8.
That's a good one. I was just going to fix that. Similar method to solve, but slightly different. All right. If you don't have the sheet printed out, you may want to copy this down. All right. So here's the mean of 0. The z-score is over to the left of it. We don't know what that z-score is. That's what you're going to determine, right? We know it's going to be a negative z-score because it's to the left of the mean. And I give you this area here, 0.7190. That's provided to you, all right? But to get that z-score, I need this area here. So thinking in terms of complementary events, what do we do? Anybody? Bueller? Daughtry? All right, it's 1 minus the 0.7190. That'll give me this area, which is what I need to get the corresponding z-score off the table, which equals 0.2810.
Sir, I actually said that. I just realized I was on mute, though.
So, man, I need the mute button in the classroom. So we just go back to your table, and you're going to look from the inside out. You know it's going to be on the negative side of the table, not the positive side, because it's to the left of the mean. And you know it's below 0.5, so you know it's going to be on the lower side of the table. And we look for 0.2810, and then you look across the left for the whole numbers and the tenths. You look up to the top for the hundredths that are running across the top, and you come up with a z-score of, right here, negative 0.58 or negative 0.58. Fair enough? Questions? Anybody lost? Do I need to do any more on this? If you haven't done this sheet, do this sheet. This is problem set 4. Maybe Blackbot, hopefully Blackbot's today.
Can you tell us the people who haven't done it? I'm pretty sure I did it.
I can't even get to the Dropbox, so I don't.
Oh, dang. So
I don't have anybody that's doing it.
dang.
Yeah.
So even if we didn't do it, because I'm pretty sure I did that one. But even if we didn't do it, we couldn't get to the documents anyway because Blackbot's down, right?
So you got an excuse for not doing the work.
How am I supposed to get to the documents? I know I did that one, but there's probably one from last week I didn't do.
Well, as I went over beginning when we first started the class, there's 5 things from last week that you should have done. 6.2, problem sets 2, 3, and 4, and the Flexi quiz.
Oh,
2, 3, 4, and the Flexi quiz.
dang. Okay.
Right, and also on Blackbot last week for your participation grade, everybody was supposed to get on during my office hours twice last week.
Did anybody do it?
Mr. Toller was a regular, Mr. James was a regular, Mr. Handy, or Mr. Paul got on.
I was too, right?
Walden was MIA. Daughtry was MIA.
Hey, how you come to
Let's see.
never come to real school?
That was in announcements every flipping day last week. I got lost in the shuffle. Our office hours this week now are every day 2 to 2:30.
You still have that?
Monday through
Last week was
Thursday.
a bad week.
What's the point of that if we have class?
I have to work
So you
around
can
that
get
time.
on and ask questions, clarify anything you didn't know in class, or hey, or I can't get that, or anything you got related to that. And then on Fridays, it's back to the old time for like math. It's from 9 to 10 in the morning because you guys don't have regular classes on Friday.
That's still like mandatory for participation?
In my class, I got to see you twice a week.
Right, what?
I got to see you twice a week. That's either I'll probably increase that to 3 times a week. You know, because I count class as being one of them, right? So you've already got one knocked out of the way, right?
They had to come every day. Okay.
No, because you got A, B, C, D periods today,
Sir, I was sick, sir.
E, F, G, H on
Oh,
Tuesday,
wait.
and then A, B, C, D again on Wednesday, and
Where did he type that?
Thursday. No classes on Friday.
So, sir, we only have to come 2 times a week.
Big get.
I'll probably bump that to 3, the 2 class periods and the 1 office hour.
All right. Cool.
Why do you always
We
I
have to
work
come
during
to
office
office hours?
hours. I work during
At least
office hours.
once.
I work during. I'm gonna have to do it while I'm on the job. But.
When do you work?
Huh?
When do you work?
Like this week I'm gonna be working 1:30 and 6:30. Last week I was working like 12 to 5. Weird hours.
Well, you're still registered in school and you're still responsible for school,
Friday.
I've been told. It's school.
I mean, but I don't know if, like, how you know, what if they throw me on the schedule for an early morning shift? They want like opening. Then what? What am I to do? What am I supposed to do?
Take it up with your Mr. Busman or Miss Metcalf.
Sir, you got guys.
You're still responsible for work. Okay. Any other questions? Reference 6.2. No? All right. Did anybody download, I sent you last week, before Blackbaud went belly up, 6.3, the PowerPoint and problem set 1. James, did you get that?
Yeah, wasn't able to download the worksheet though.
You weren't able to download it?
Yeah, I only got.
Hey. You know there's all comments and things.
Check the messages.
This thing's being recorded, all right? So, and administrative offices are checking the recordings. Speaking of recordings, there's a lot of you that didn't watch any of the YouTube videos last week from me or anybody else, because we can get on and see how many people watched the various videos.
I know that was videos. Sir.
YouTube videos that are sent to you, the links to the YouTube videos and other videos that are sent to you, that were sent to you almost daily last week.
Wait, Mr. Get what?
Mr. Doctor, you're still in school. Whether you're not, if you
Oh
just
no, I was looking at
participate
something
and do
else.
the
I wasn't
things that
even
you've been told to do, that's your choice. But if I don't have any work from you, you know,
Sure.
I don't have
I'm
any.
here, right?
The only thing that goes in there is a 0. So
I've been turned. All right,
you
I've
in
been
school or
turned.
do something else.
Sure.
All right.
Like, are you gonna film me?
If you don't terminate anything, I don't have a choice.
Well, like where I'm at now, like even if I didn't turn anything, would I actually fail? Like, let's be honest.
What am I supposed to do? Make up a grade for you?
I'm talking about like for the year.
Help us out, sir.
Just hopefully you got a high enough grade in first, second, and third quarter.
I'm pretty sure I do. It's at least
Carry you through doing nothing in the fourth quarter. But you know, There's been a try to
Sir,
try to
but y'all
keep
think like for
education going
seniors,
as
y'all
best
think
we
y'all should be
can.
like more lenient?
I'm sorry.
Like for seniors, y'all don't think I should be more lenient? Like think about it, in class, we probably wouldn't even be like, you know,
Let me do what you.
like, sure.
Doctor, I haven't seen much of a change this year versus the previous 3 years.
That's a
what do
cat.
you do?
That's a cat. Sir, you used to write me up every day. Stop playing. Stop playing. Like,
I thought you had got senioritis during your freshman year.
bro, I had senioritis since I've been in school.
Okay.
Agreed. All right. Who's got problem set 1 from 6.3 in the PowerPoint I sent you last Thursday?
Who's Jeff? It says from Jeff to everyone. Who is Jeff?
Well, there's folks in I can see the chats too, right?
Accept.
There's people there's imposters out there.
For real? Hold up. Mr. Gaffney, I ain't even gonna lie. I low-key thought you said that. I was like, yo, you're wild.
All right.
I thought I was the only one who noticed this. I didn't want to say anything out loud.
All right. Who's got 6.3 problem set 1 in front of them?
I got the Rona, sir.
Chill,
what?
bro. Chill. They're gonna lock you up.
What do you have?
None.
I didn't hear or see from you all last week.
Rona.
Announcements?
Sir, I was under the weather. That's why I didn't do anything last week.
I'm still new to this technology. I feel like an old person.
It's a moving picture show. You got to keep up.
Yeah.
All right.
Accept.
Okay, Mr. McCaffrey and others. Section 6.3. How that differs from 6.2 is very little, except that we're going to put real life situations under the standard normal curve, kind of like we did a little bit in 6.2 using IQ scores and SAT scores. But now we're going to put other situations on there. All right. So who could tell me Z-score? How do you calculate a Z-score? What's the formula for calculating a Z-score? But give me another name for a Z-score. Let's back it up even further. What's another name? What is a Z-score? It's what? Mr. James, Mr. Toller, can you help me out?
Standard normal distribution.
Okay, very close. It's the number of standard deviations you are from the mean. A Z-score is just how many standard deviations am I to the left or to the right of the mean, right? And how do we calculate standard deviation from the mean? Anybody remember the formula? Mr. Hall? Mr. Tillman, it's not nap time yet.
Like what it's supposed to be.
Blowout.
X minus the mean over the standard.
X minus X with the bar
X minus the mean?
equals 1 or minus 1 plus 1.
Where are you getting this stuff, Doctor?
I don't know.
Z-score is the number of standard deviations you are from the mean. So it's X.
Yeah, it's like X minus X bar.
No, it's X minus the mean. X minus
The mean is also like the X squiggly line. You tweaking.
over the standard deviation. That is your Z-score calculation.
Third, the mean, we don't
No,
use the
that's-
meme as N. The meme is X squiggly or X bar. What is it? X squiggly, right?
X
Come
minus
on, use
mu. Looks like a U. It's a Greek symbol. X minus mu.
Oh, that one.
I think that's omega
Hold up.
standard deviation.
I thought you said mean.
That is the mean. What's X? What's X represent, Mr. Daughtry?
The curve, the jump,
No.
the number we don't know.
X represents a data value.
Yeah, the number given. Yeah.
It's like an SAT score. Let's say you were going to use 600 as my X. It's 600 minus 500, which is the mean for SAT scores, over 100, which is standard deviation. So X is a data value.
Okay.
Okay, so in section 6.3, since I saw none of you PowerPoint from last week, all right, so
I was under the weather.
section, because we're going to keep plugging, all right, we're just going to put real life situations. We're going to put real life situations under the standard normal curve and figure out the area which equates to the probability of various scenarios. So that's what you had to do in 6.3 problem set 1. Just give me a thumbs up if you actually have that problem set or saw that problem set or got it off the internet before Blackbaud went down. Does anybody have it?
No.
Mr. James, Mr. Toller?
No.
Which problem set?
It's a 6.3 problem set 1. I put it out on Thursday, I believe. So you would have had to grab it Thursday because Blackbaud was down sometime on Friday morning.
I don't know.
Let me check real quick.
What I can do is I'll just, everybody got a writing utensil and some paper in front of them or a notebook? They got just some lined paper or blank paper that you can hand copy your problem. And I'll walk. Are we ready?
1 minute, sir. Let me get a utensil. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay. So I'm gonna skip down to number 3, and I'm just gonna give you the setup and the scenario. All right. So IQ scores. We've used this data before. All right. It has a mean of 100. Right. That's mean is the average. Right. IQ scores. If you have an IQ score of 100, you're right where you're supposed to be. Right. If it's above 100, you have a higher IQ than the average or the norm. If you're below 100, you have a lower IQ than the norm. IQ is your mental age over your chronological age, and they should match up. If they match up, it's times 100. So if you, let's say at 18, the normal, the mean average IQ score is 80, is 18, and your age is 18. 18 over 18 is 1 times 100. So you're right where you're supposed to be. If you scored 19 or 20 or 21, you've got an IQ above average. So if I drew a standard curve, all right, 100 is my mean, right? And the standard deviation for IQs, if you remember, because we've used this data a lot, is 16, okay? So the scenario is, if you got a piece of paper, all right, the question is, IQ scores are normally distributed with a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 16. Determine the probability that a randomly selected person will have an IQ score between 100 and 120. So that's why this section is called applications of normal distributions. All right, we're gonna put an we're gonna apply a real life situation to the normal standard curve or a normal distribution. So if you can see my board, 100 is the mean, saying what if I selected one person at random, or you took the IQ score, what is the possibility or probability that you're going to score somewhere between 100 and 120? Okay, so we've got to calculate 2 IQ scores to calculate that off the probability table. But really, we only have to calculate 1. And why is that? Really, we only have to calculate 1, right? Because we really already know 1, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if one of my pieces of data is the mean, all right, we know it has a z-score or a standard deviation of what? Anybody? Walden, Mr. Tomlin?
0.5.
Well, correct. It's got a z-score standard deviation of 0, but we know there's 0.500 part of the data is to the left of that. So the only, you can calculate, because it's going to be 100 over 16, right? Going to equate, because 100 minus 100 is 0, it's going to equate to 0, 0.
So look, sir.
0.500 on the table. Yes, sir.
The mean is 100.
Yes, we've used this data over and over for 6 weeks probably.
And where'd you get 16 from again?
told you in the problem, the standard deviation of IQ is 16,
Okay.
okay?
Uh,
So the only Z-score we got to calculate is for 120, right? So 120, Mr. Daughtry, represents what?
mean
Oh, give me a,
the X, the data value.
it's a data value. It's my X, right? So it's
Mm-hmm.
120 minus 100 over what?
16.
16, my standard deviation. So it's 20 over 16, which if you do the math,
1/4.
1.25.
3/4.
No,
0.2.
0.25. That's my
Oh.
score, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now we just go to the table. All right. So we come down to 1.2 down the left side of the column, and we come across the top of the table to 0.05. And if we look at that, we get an area or probability of 0.8944. 0.8944, right?
How'd you get that? What'd you do?
I went to that table you got there.
Oh, yeah.
1.2 on the left side, and I came across the top margin of 0.05.
Okay.
And you should find 0.8944. There's only one thing left. What's left?
Shading.
No, we shaded it. I want to find out what this area is right here. How do I do that from this point?
You take those two numbers.
And take 0.8944 and subtract it by 0.5.
Yeah.
There you go. I don't know if you heard Mr. Hall, but subtract the 0.8944. And you come up with 0.3944. All right, so what's that say? That says that 0.39, there's a 39.4% probability that you will have an IQ between 100 and 120.
All right.
That make sense?
Yeah.
All right. We're a couple minutes before running out of time. So with that in mind, tell me what the probability of between now and when we get together again on Wednesday. Let me give you two problems. Actually, three problems. What's the probability of scoring above 110 on the IQ test? Above scoring 110, all right? What's the probability of scoring below 75 on the IQ test? That's number two. What's the probability of scoring between 90 and 110?
What's this for?
This is for Wednesday. Three problems. Usually, okay? Scoring above 110, scoring below a 75, and scoring between 90 and 110. If you took the test or I randomly selected a person,
Yeah, I know.
the likelihood of scoring above 110, below 75 is number 2, or between 90 and 110 is number 3. Okay? All right, so we're coming up on 10 minutes before the hour, which I'm supposed to cut it off then. So 6.3, we're starting to put real life situations to standard normal curves and figuring out likelihoods and probabilities of various scenarios. And we said everything can be a standard normal application if we keep increasing, and we're going to talk about this I think later in this chapter, if we keep increasing the number of trials, everything will trend towards a standard normal curve. So this is really applicable to just about any situation. All right, anybody have any questions? If you have any problems or want any help outside of class, I'll be online from 2 to 2:30 today. All right. I kind of like being able to see you guys, see what's going on, even with all the chicanery that's happening behind the scenes. Please be careful with in the chat section because these things are recorded and there may be other people looking at them. Okay. If you haven't turned in those things I mentioned, make sure you take the Flexi quiz. And then I want, let's see, where's my list here? What did I say? 2 of those 3 problem sets from last week. 2 of those 3 problem sets, make sure they're in there. And others, if you don't do anything, I don't have a grade. I can't pull a grade out of thin air. I know this isn't ideal. I don't want to be doing this, right? I'd rather have you in the classroom and yucking it up and having a good time and still doing some learning. But it is, we're just trying to make the best of a challenging situation. I know it's a struggle for everybody. Particularly seniors. I got seniors in college that are missing out on the last part of their senior year. So, hey, trying to hold the thing together and make do with what we can with what we got. Comments?
All right.
Hang in there. Hopefully we'll get over that curve. Speaking of curves, and things will start getting better, and we can start getting back to a more desirable, normal way of life. Anything else I can help you with or anything?
Love you, sir.
All right, so we'll see you on Wednesday at 10, and in office hours 2 to 2:30 every day if you want some outside help. Appreciate you being here. If you see Aiden Gore wandering the streets in Connor Handy, let me know. All right, we'll see you. I'm going to sign off unless anybody's got any last minute questions. Take care. Keep washing those hands. Don't touch your face.